We are now on to rule number 2. Last rule, or rule number 1, was it's a dictatorship, not a democracy. Hopefully you started to apply that thought. Rule number 2 is this. You're not a perfect parent, nor will you ever be one. You want to be a scientist, not a perfectionist. And think about experimenting until you figure out what works. We have these social norms and our perceived social norms. And many of them, unfortunately, come from reality TV. And reality TV is anything but real. So, again, you got to think of the source of what you're watching. Those shows are for entertainment, not for real life structure. You have a lot of people that are have their ideals. But, what created those ideals? What was their background? What's their upbringing? What's their knowledge base? So you got to be aware of those things. But biggest part is don't beat yourself up. You're not going to be a perfect parent. It's just not going to happen. Your job as a parent is you got to think of kids like bumper cars. And they're bouncing off of everything. They don't know where they're going, and they're not sure why they're going there, but they want to find out as many things as they can. So your job as a parent is to be the walls, the safety barriers. Let them bounce around a little bit. Also bear in mind that there's a big difference in how girls bounce around as opposed to how boys bounce around. And again, this actually has to do with a little bit of how their brain works. But girls, they go up a slide for the first time. They look back at mom as like, is this going to be safe? Whereas boys go up the slide, and if they look back at all, they're going to look at you and say, aha, watch this. And they're going to take off. So just kind of realize that is just the nature of how they are. But let them figure things out. But also put out there small challenges for them. Don't always give them the answers. Parents, get oftentimes caught like, I got to have the answer for this, and I got to wait on them hand and foot, and I got to do these things. Let kids figure things out on their own. They're going to, at first, like, just tell me. Figure it out. If it's something big, guide them. But as a whole, let them figure it out. Because suddenly, that starts relieving the pressure from you to have all the answers. The other thing, though, I want you to think about as well is we have a lot of split homes, blended families. And one of the absolute worst things I see parents do is bad-mouthing the other parent in front of their child. Your dad did this. Your mom's like this. I see this happen constantly, and it's really unfortunate because in the parent's mindset that's saying it, they're like, I'm going to pit them against the ex because the ex is a bad person. That relationship with that child that they have with your ex is not the same relationship you have. And when you do those things, you may be thinking that you're putting them on your side against the other parent, but what's really happening is you're undermining your relationship with your child. Kids are smart. The other parent is a bad parent, they'll figure it out. Kids are smart. All right, plain and simple. We've seen this happen over and over. So don't undermine your relationship with your child by bad-mouthing the other parent. Be the bigger person. We got to think about how we come off to our kids in that situation. Because you do sound a certain way, and it's not a good way. Be the bigger person. Teach your child to be the bigger person. You got to always ask yourself this question: am I setting them up for success, or am I setting them up for failure? If you're bad-mouthing the other parent, you're setting them up for failure in multiple ways. One of them is teaching them in the future how they should talk about their spouse. Do you really want them to go through that? So just pay attention to that. The other thing I want you to really pay attention for yourself as a parent, when you find yourself beating yourself up over something you're doing parenting-wise, there's a word that comes into play a lot. The word is should. And I learned from a performance coach a long time ago is stop shoulding on yourself. All right? Shoulds are somebody else's expectations. Have realistic expectations for yourself and go by them. It's a thing that will help you and your child, beside the not shoulding on yourself, is just let them know what do you want them to be? What do you want them to become? What type of person do you want them to be? We have our student creed we say at the beginning of every class. Whole purpose for this is to put into their mindset of, this is how I want to be. This is how I want to be as a person, as a bigger person, as a better person. Our student creed is, I show integrity with my thoughts, words, and deeds. I have the courage to do what is right, even when it is hard. I offer compassion with kind words and helping hands. I act now because action leads to achievement. I'm on a journey to excellence. This is my code of conduct. Right? We have that clear goal of what we want them to be as a person. We have the goal of wanting them to become a black belt. But part of becoming a black belt is being that person. So, have those conversations of the type of person you want them to be, but also show them by your actions and your words the type of person you want them to be. So, a lot to think about, I know, but very important stuff. So, stop beating yourself up, stop shooting on yourself, and be an experimenter.